Chapter 1. The Arrival. The heavy doors creak open, echoing in the stark silence of the high-security prison. As Elias steps inside, the weight of his new reality crashes over him. Concrete walls, barbed wire, and metal bars that separate him from the world he once knew. His voice trembles as he records his first diary entry, a mix of anxiety and fear swirling within him. "I thought I was prepared," he admits, "but nothing can compare to the feeling of stepping into this place." The sounds of distant footsteps and muffled conversations fill the air, amplifying his sense of isolation. Memories of freedom flicker in his mind, bright skies, laughter with friends, and family gatherings. Elias longs for the warmth of those moments, yet a flicker of hope ignites within him. Perhaps, behind these imposing walls, he can find a path to redemption. His journey has only just begun. Chapter 2. The First Days. The sounds of clanging metal and muted conversations fill the air as Elias navigates his new reality. Each morning begins with the sharp clang of the wake-up bell, followed by the harsh shuffle of feet echoing down the concrete corridors. In this chapter, we hear from Maria, Frank, and Amir as they share their initial impressions and vulnerabilities. Maria's whisper, laced with nostalgia, reveals her longing for her children's laughter, juxtaposed with the starkness of her cell. Frank's voice grows heavier as he reflects on his past decisions, haunted by memories that echo like ghosts in the silence. Amir speaks candidly about the relentless grip of addiction, feeling lost amidst the prison's suffocating walls. Together, their intertwined narratives illustrate the isolation of incarceration, as they grapple with lingering regrets and the daunting challenge of finding hope in the depths of despair. The chapter closes with the resonating sounds of a rolling cart serving meals, a reminder of routines that bind their newfound existence. Chapter 3. Life Behind Bars. As the harsh clang of the cell doors echoes through the corridors, inmates settle into the rigid rhythms of prison life. The soundscape shifts to the routine wake-up call, the rustling of bunkmates shaking off sleep, and the distant shuffle of feet on cold concrete. Each inmate's diary entry paints a vivid picture of their daily existence. Elias grapples with the dehumanizing structure of roll calls, while Maria writes about the isolation that seeps into her bones like the chill of the prison walls. Frank reflects on the slow passage of time, counting the days not in numbers, but in fleeting moments of connection during meals. Amidst the mundane, profound reflections emerge, thoughts of dreams delayed, the weight of regrets buried deep, and the longing for redemption. As they navigate their confined existence, the inmates share a fleeting understanding. Even in darkness, life carries untold stories waiting to be unfurled. Chapter 4. The Weight of Regret. As the sound of clanking metal and distant voices fills the air, the inmates sit in the dimly lit common area, each grappling with their past. Maria's voice breaks through the silence as she reflects on her crime of passion, a momentary lapse that led to the loss of everything she loved. "Every night I relive that moment," she confesses, her voice tinged with sorrow. Frank, with his battle-scarred identity, shares his history in a gang that once felt like family, now a source of deep remorse. "I thought I was strong back then," he admits, "but it turns out I was just lost." The echoes of their stories weave together, revealing a tapestry of longing and regret. Amir, caught in addiction's snare, chimes in, discussing betrayal and lost connections. Each tale, fragmented yet poignant, serves as a reminder of the choices that shaped their lives and the path toward redemption they now seek. Chapter 5. The Threads of Connection. In the heart of the prison, unexpected friendships blossom against the backdrop of confinement. The sound of plastic trays clattering during meal times becomes a canvas for shared laughter and whispered secrets. Elias recounts the moment he offered his support to Maria when she felt overwhelmed by the weight of her past. Frank finds a sense of purpose as he bonds with Amir over their mutual struggles, realizing they are not alone in their battles. During library sessions, inmates share stories that resonate deeply, and the air buzzes with camaraderie as they discuss books and dreams. Echoes of conversations reveal the fragile threads that weave their lives together. A sense of belonging emerges amid isolation. This act of connection becomes a lifeline, illustrating that even within the stark walls, human spirit thrives through empathy and understanding, reminding listeners of the transformative power of friendship in the darkest of places. Chapter 6. Escape through art. As the prison walls echo with the sounds of routine, Maria finds a sanctuary in the world of poetry. Her diary entries become a lifeline, a way to express her tumultuous emotions and the pain of her past. In one poignant entry, she recalls a particularly vivid night where the weight of her thoughts transformed into verse. The sound of her reciting poetry fills the air, her voice trembling with raw emotion, each word a release of her grief and longing for her children. Maria reflects on how writing offers an escape, a momentary reprieve from her confinement. The clanging of the cell doors fades into the background as she loses herself in her creations. Through her verses, she begins to heal, finding purpose and connection with fellow inmates who share their own stories through art. In this dark place, creativity becomes a beacon of hope, stitching together fractured lives, one poem at a time. Chapter 7. Personal Stories of Loss. The dim echoes of the prison hallways carry the weight of sorrow as inmates delve into their personal histories, reflecting on family bonds severed by time and circumstance. Amir's voice trembles as he recounts the pain of addiction that cost him his relationship with his brother, once his closest ally, now a distant memory. I can still hear his laughter, but it feels like I'm shouting into an empty void, he admits, the ache palpable. Maria shares her story too, her thoughts drifting to her children. Every night I dream of them playing in the yard, and every morning I wake up to realize I can't be there. The soundscape includes the muffled murmur of distant conversations and faint whispers of memories that linger like ghosts. As each inmate embodies their grief, the blend of raw emotion allows listeners to grasp the intimate links between confinement, remorse, and the longing for connection. Chapter 8. Group Therapy Sessions. As the inmates gather in the drab, metal-lined therapy room, a palpable energy fills the air. Tension mingles with a flicker of hope. The sound of folding chairs scraping against the concrete echoes, signifying the start of their shared journey toward healing. Frank, facing the group, hesitates before delving into his story, the weight of his past heavy on his shoulders. I was lost in gang life, blinded by loyalty, he begins, vulnerability creeping into his voice. The room is silent, save for the occasional shuffling of feet, as other inmates lean in, riveted. Through tears and trembling breaths, Frank's cathartic release resonates with the group, igniting a shared understanding of pain and redemption. Each shared story becomes a thread weaving their collective narrative, echoes of resilience amidst despair. As they offer support, the sound of gentle nods and heartfelt affirmations envelops them, reminding everyone that through vulnerability comes strength and the possibility of transformation. The sound of rustling paper fills the air, a cherished soundtrack that accompanies each inmate's moment of vulnerability. Elias carefully unfolds a letter from his childhood friend, the familiar handwriting igniting a flurry of emotions. With every word, memories flood back, the laughter of carefree days, the warmth of friendship, and the stark contrast to his current reality. As he reads, he feels a surge of hope, a reminder that he is not forgotten. Maria, too, receives a letter, a heartbreaking note from her young son. Tears well up as she clutches it to her chest, the weight of her absence heavy in the air. But within the pain lies motivation. She is reminded of her purpose. The shared experience of receiving letters becomes a bittersweet connection to the outside world, bridging the gap between confinement and the lives that continue beyond the prison walls. In the echoes of their whispered dreams and fears, the power of love and longing resounds. Chapter 10. Small Victories. As the days blend into weeks, the inmates begin to celebrate small victories that punctuate their confinement with hope. Elias reflects on teaching younger inmates, imparting not just knowledge but a sense of purpose. The classroom, though encased within prison walls, becomes a sanctuary of growth. The sound of chalk on the board echoes through the air, blending with laughter and the soft whispers of students sharing insights. Maria, inspired by her newfound community, submits a collection of her poems to an upcoming prison competition. The anticipation builds in her diary as she discusses her fear of rejection alongside her yearning for connection. Frank, meanwhile, starts organizing workshops that cater to at-risk youth in the community, reaching out beyond the prison's limitations and redefining his life's mission. Each victory, whether it's mastering a skill, forging connections, or sharing their stories, lifts the weight of despair and ignites a collective spirit of hope, reinforcing the belief that change, however small, can lead to transformation. Chapter 11. Finding Purpose. As the days turn into months, the atmosphere within the walls shifts from despair to determination. Each inmate embarks on a journey of self-discovery, carving out personal plans for reintegration. Maria dreams of publishing her poetry, envisioning a world where her words inspire others just as they have healed her. She shares her aspirations during group discussions, her voice filled with renewed confidence. Frank, now reflecting on his turbulent past, envisions starting a youth outreach program, aiming to steer kids away from the gang life he once knew. He hopes to be a beacon of hope for at-risk youth, sharing lessons learned the hard way. Meanwhile, Elias embraces his role as a mentor, guiding new arrivals through the daunting maze of prison life, lighting a path of encouragement for others. The soundscape resonates with a shared sense of purpose, filled with laughter and motivational whispers of future aspirations as each inmate begins to reclaim their narrative. Chapter 12. The Path to Healing. In the hushed atmosphere of the group therapy room, inmates confront their pasts, revealing scars that run deep. Each shared story acts as a thread, weaving a tapestry of pain, regret, and ultimately healing. Elias records a poignant entry, reflecting on how his initial anger has slowly shifted into understanding and empathy. He acknowledges his journey from hopelessness to a desire for a brighter future. Maria, now a beacon of inspiration, shares her poem about rebirth, her voice trembling with emotion. Frank, too, faces the demons of his past, breaking down barriers he once thought insurmountable. As tears flow, laughter emerges, demonstrating the paradox of pain and joy in their interconnected lives. The sound of subdued sobs and hopeful murmurs creates an intimate backdrop, amplifying each inmate's determination to heal, grow, and reclaim their identities. Together, they take steps toward emotional freedom, transforming scars into stories of resilience and hope. Chapter 13. The Countdown to Freedom. The relentless ticking of a clock fills the air, each tick resonating with tension and anticipation. Inmates gather in their cells, counting down the final hours before release, a moment they've longed for yet feared. Elias sits on his bunk, reflecting on the walls that confined him and the dreams now reignited within. He imagines the wide-open spaces beyond the gates and the tangible taste of freedom. Maria, her heart racing, pens her thoughts in verse, capturing the bittersweet essence of leaving behind the bonds of brotherhood they've formed. Frank contemplates the responsibility that comes with freedom, nervous yet determined to make amends. As whispers of hopes and fears swirl through the corridors, the atmosphere is charged with emotional weight, a mixture of joy and trepidation. The community they've built now faces the ultimate test. Stepping into a world unknown, ready to reclaim their stories and lives, the final countdown to liberation has begun.